Spence, Zoo, post-fight thoughts. Let's go.
Push the weight and now flex. Alive is one in the six. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Let's talk about it. Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu. Got to tip your hat to Tim. The Phoenix. He did what he was supposed to do. Errol came out, he looked rusty. He was visibly bigger. Tim, I know I didn't address him talking about, drug testing and things of that nature. I mean, come on, I ain't want to entertain that. Errol's a clean fighter, and that's the end of it. One could speculate that he was already building an excuse if he lost. But I even want to entertain that. Okay, so you can see the rust in Errol's game. I will say that Errol can still take a punch. Don't think the weight was an issue. Now let me explain. I'm just gonna briefly, because I don't want to make this video too long. I had Errol winning the first portion of the fight up until round like 5 or between rounds 1 and 5, he dropped the round. But I had Tim winning 7 rounds. Tim was the fresher fighter in the championship rounds, like in the second half of the fight. Errol seemed not to have an answer. Not to the point where he needed a plan B, because what he was doing was working. But what happened was Tim in his corner did a pretty good job. Tim started to throw combinations and force the issue more. Tim turned the tides of the fight by way of ring generalship. He was walking forward. Errol Spence did a great job early in the fight, smothering Tim's work. I noticed right away he really couldn't hurt Tim, and Errol was never hurt, but when Tim started to land, his punches looked more devastating, and usually the crowd plays into that. I know he's in Australia and everything else, but no, it wasn't. It was more than just the crowd. When Tim did throw the right hand, he couldn't miss. Errol, on the flip side, did a magnificent job of keeping his head off the line when he could. But then that's where the rust kicked in. And later on in the fight, I also noticed that Errol's mouth was open. The cardio wasn't there. And again, I think he's more comfortable at 160. But being out of the ring for 3 years and just having a camp, you're not going to get all your cardio back. I'd like to see him do more work at 160. But if you haven't watched the fight, unfortunately, I'll never get that, because Errol Spence just retired at the end of the fight. And, normally I say, okay, these guys, they make an emotional decision once the bell rings. I really don't think that that's that with Errol. I think that Errol means it. He's a wealthy man. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. He's a wealthy man. His money's working for him. He's a family man, and he doesn't take light work. And not to say that Tim was light work. He's a quality guy, and he proved it tonight. And he fought him on his home turf, and I think if Errol wanted to continue, he would. I would like to have seen him get a tune up just to, get his feet wet, get the timing back, because all of that was off. And you can tell within the first two rounds, although he won those rounds, but Tim started to figure out, hey, this guy can't hurt me, and I can land my right hand. I can get the timing down. And although Errol did a good job keeping his head off the line, when he did get caught, like I said a second ago, the punches looked more devastating. And Tim won the fight. Fair and square. I have no problem with the outcome. I have no problem with the judges, what they're saying. Look, if it went in Errol's direction, I'd be telling you that it was a robbery. I'd be telling you that it was a robbery. Absolutely. So it's still man down over here. Errol's my guy. But we're gonna, we're gonna keep it honest over here, like we always do. And I think with along with Errol's timing and how he felt fatigued towards the tail end of the fight. At the end of round 11, he tried to like smash the gas on him. And in round 12, he just didn't do anything. I think he made a mental decision. Hey, man, let me just get out of this thing, because in the event, let's just say he smashed the gas on Tim and dropped him or whatever, and they got a 10-8, and we either get a draw or an outstanding victory. Now we're going to expect more from him. And I don't think he wants to give more. You understand what I'm saying? I think he's mentally done. This was just a heat check. He just wanted to see if he still has some things. And as a fighter, you just want to get some things out. Now, of course, sitting at home could be a hard thing. This might be an emotional decision. He might be sitting at home and, 6 months from now, he might be hitting the bag and be like, you know what, man? That wasn't my best performance. You know what, man? My cardio faded. You know what, man? Yo, Ronnie, man, let me just come to the gym for a while. Let me see how I feel. Yeah, it could have happened, probably, but y'all saw Bud there. And I honestly think if Errol went in there and steamrolled Tim, Bud would have jumped in that ring and there'd have been some talk. Run it at 160. And I don't think Errol, he's in love with the game like that anymore. He sacrificed his body for the Bud fight, paid for it, right? But he got in there, and he took 3 years off, came back, and he fought a quality guy at 160, not 154, 160 via his request, right? And I don't think he's going to need some time for his body to get used to 160. But unfortunately, for the people who are Errol Spence supporters like myself, that day's never going to come. I think he's hanging it up. I think he means it. And that's good. That's good, man. Go out on your own terms. He ain't crying about money. He loves his family. And this is how, it's okay for a fighter to go out like this. There's nothing to hold your head down about. Don't hang your head. It was, Tim Tszyu's a quality guy. That's fine. Tim Tszyu had the faster hands tonight, and you could see the rust in Errol, but he doesn't want to give himself that time to get all of that stuff back, because it's going to be work time. And I think mentally he just doesn't want to do it. And that's fine. Fighters need to know when to hang it up. So he made that decision tonight. Now, everything's subject to change next year. But, I think Errol's, 36? No, this is not the time to be, I'm going to come back when I'm 38. No. So, I support his decision. It could be a little bit of an emotional decision, but it's also practical. That's fine. Salute to Tim Tszyu. He did his damn thing. Phoenix he is, and he said he felt good at 160. Happy for him. So he said he'd like to fight Laura or the other champions, but look, he said, if you're gonna go party tonight, go party. Be safe, please. None of that drinking and stuff. I hear some things about, you guys in Australia party hard. Aussie, oi, looking ass. And that's cool. Celebrate, be safe, and see what you can do. And another thing, I want to give Tim Tszyu some more credit, because that Bikram loss was very bad. Bikram knocked the shit out of him. And for him to come back and to do what he does, man. The Sebastian Fundora fights, and this guy, he has my respect, man. At first, I was saying, all right, so he looks just like his dad. His dad was the truth. What is he? Let's see. So he was, he got the look of his dad. He looks like his dad, and he had the support because of who he was and his last name. But he's his own man. He's his own man. And he is what boxing is supposed to be. You have some losses, you come back. So that's the appropriate name for him, the Phoenix. So I'll give him full credit for that, man. Salute to Tim Tszyu. Shout out to my brother Errol Spence Jr. Wonderful career, brother. Wonderful career, man. And you went out on your own terms. And I respect it. Salute to Errol. Salute to Tim. Pretty damn good fight. And y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Bronx on deck.
Move!